Just like regular human beings, the bots can speak multiple languages. Specifically, they speak programming languages, and a lot of these low-key suck. They're near impossible to understand, and they take years to get good at. But what's kinda great about a lot of programming languages is that they share the same DNA. So if you get your dumb brain to learn one of the simpler languages, it'll make learning the way harder ones much easier. One of the most simple yet powerful programming languages out there is called Python, and it's not a robot snake. So I'm gonna teach you the basics of Python, the parts that share DNA with a lot of other programming languages, and then maybe get into the real reasons why Python is so powerful. And not to get political, but you can commit a lot of crimes with Python, or do boring stuff like find a good job and make video games. And the first step to Python programming is to find software to actually write our code in. There's a ton of free apps out there. One of my go-tos is to download something called Anaconda. Once again, it's not a snake. And then use that to download another app called Jupyter Notebooks. It basically lets you write Python in, well, notebooks. But there's other free epic apps like Visual Studio Code and PyCharm, which just work, but probably. Visual Studio Code is basically Notepad if Notepad was actually good. Look at this code right here. Let's say I'm making this code, but it's boring as hell, dude. So all I gotta do is just tell Visual Studio Code, hey, this code boring as hell, bro, and tell it, give me some Subway Surfers, and it'll try to load the Subway. Fascinating. I think they broke my Subway Surfers code. That's a bummer. If you just want to do some quick practice and mess around, you can also just hop on Google and search up online Python compiler and code in a browser with no downloading or setup required. Just keep in mind that you really shouldn't make any big projects in a browser like this, because you'll come back later and all your code will be gone. All of these apps have two main parts: the editor, where we'll write all of our code, and the output area, where we'll see all the results of our code. For the sake of convenience, I'm naming the output area Dum Dum. Hey, that's right, it's me, Dream, and I've got an industry secret for you. All programmers are code monkeys. They have no original thoughts, and that means to be a true programmer, you have to subscribe to the cult and make Hello World your first ever program. Anyways, I'm gonna go drink some juice now, as I, Dream, usually do. Thank you, Dream. Very cool. To make a Hello World, all we'll need is one command, the print command. Print just tells Dum Dum here to regurgitate whatever we put in the brackets. So if we want Dum Dum to realize that it's alive and say, "Hello world, I'm alive," all we have to do is write print, open brackets, hello world. By the way, notice that since this is a quote, you put inverted commas over it. You got that? That's important, okay? Hey, congratulations! You've made your first program. Now it's time for variables. Variables are ways of storing information. Imagine we have this cup and we want to store the word coffee in it. We write cup equals coffee. Now, when we write print cup, no inverted commas because it's not a quote, our good friend Dum Dum here tells us what's inside the cup. A variable can be named almost anything, and it doesn't just store words, it also stores things like numbers, true-false statements, and the many crimes I've committed. I'm so sorry, little one. Notice how none of these are quotes, so none of them have inverted commas. You can also do maths on a variable, which is pretty handy because unlike ChatGPT, Dum Dum will actually do the maths instead of making up an answer. We can also use the input command to make Dum Dum ask us questions. For instance, if we write number of beans equals input, open brackets, how many beans do you have? Dum Dum will now ask us this question every time we run the program. You can do something like this to make a program where Dum Dum will tell you how many beans you have left if you get hungry and eat some beans. The code for that would look something like this. You're asking questions, you're doing some maths, and you're printing out the answer. But what if we want Dum Dum to be able to make decisions? For that we need the classic if statement. With it, you can have Dum Dum look at a variable and do things depending on what's inside the variable. For instance, we can tell Dum Dum that if subscribed equals false, tell the people that they're idiots. Else, if they are subscribed, so subscribed equals true, then print, wow, you're so pretty, I hope you have a good day and a good life. By the way, take note that to make an if statement work in Python, you have to include this little colon and this little empty space right here to tell dum-dum that the print is inside the if statement. Also, you gotta put 2 equals here instead of 1 because dum-dum, well, dum-dum's a bit of a dum-dum, so you really gotta remind it that these have to be the same. It's not just true or false that you can put in if statements, but also maths. For instance, if subscriber count is smaller than 1,000, print Paul is so sad, so please subscribe. But Fruity Paul, I don't care about decision making and variables. I want to build a spam bot. Well, you can. Python has a great solution for you. It's called the while loop. Whatever code is inside one of these babies will keep running over and over and over again, as long as the thing in the bracket is true. For instance, if we have 4 beans, and you want it to represent someone like me eating all the beans, we can write this code to represent me eating 1 bean. For me to eat all the beans, we'd have to copy and paste this code 4 times, which is really nasty looking and would be a problem if I was really hungry and eated 99 beans, because then we'd have to copy and paste this 99 times. But thanks to the power of a while loop, we can just do this. Wow, that's so much cleaner. What's going on? The while loop simply says that while the number of beans is more than 0, so while we still have some beans left, keep going back to the top of this code over and over again. Every time we loop over it, we're reminding dum-dum that we've lost 1 bean. So once dum-dum knows we're at 0 beans, dum-dum will tell us, hey, you're out of beans. And some of you might be really cringe and hate the while loop. And for you, I've got a solution. There's other kinds of loops, like the for loop, which you can use to loop over a list. But honestly, learning that one's your homework or something, because I can't be bothered. But Fruity Paul, what if I just want to summon code like a Pokemon? If you have a piece of code that you use all the time, you can just write it once and create a summon for it. These summons are called functions. All you have to do is go to the top of your code and write def, which stands for define by the way, and the name of the summon that you're making. For instance, def span number 4, open and close brackets, that's important. Make sure you have those brackets or this will die. And then you can put whatever code you want inside the function. Now, no matter where you are in your code, you just have to write the name of the function and the brackets, by the way. The brackets are important. Don't forget the brackets or I'll steal all of your lungs. And boom, you can spam the number 4 anywhere in your code. Isn't that just useful? And yeah, those are all the basics. But screw the basics. The real power of Python comes from libraries. Have you ever wanted to make a little video game, or make your own funny GIF maker, or create an auto clicker to win a Roblox coin flipping competition, or do whatever this guy is doing, or illegally track what's happening on cameras, or defake your friends to make it look like they're saying the most horrendous things you can imagine, or create a virus that opens a download page to my epic gaming game forever that you should totally download right now, gamers, or else? The point being that normally doing any of this would take hundreds of hours of programming. But luckily for us, some poor souls out there already put hundreds of hours into making this work. And thanks to the amazing power of libraries, it's not their code, it's our code. The functions we learned earlier let us summon our own code, but libraries let us summon other people's code. All you need is the import command and the name of the code that you're summoning. Now, just like a Pokemon, you can take the summon and tell it to use its ability. For instance, I'ma summon this nerdy little piece of code called NumPy. It does complicated maths. It has an ability called squirt, which stands for square root, and it gives us the square root of a number. But like I said, nerdy maths isn't the only thing you can do. There's like a billion things you can summon. This summon lets you make games. This summon lets you edit videos with code. And this summon lets you simulate life. Heck, I can even summon this little guy which deletes computer files. Now, if you really want to get into programming, I'd say start simple. Make something small. If you want, make it silly. Keep it entertaining, you know? Something like the bean eating counter we made here. That's something. And then try mixing different things we learned today. Maybe get a little political and put an if statement inside a while loop. I don't know. It's your choice. Your choice. You do you. If you want to learn more, a website I think is really good for learning Python is W3 Schools. They've got a lot of examples and tutorials. It's not a sponsor. It's just a neat website for learning. Unless they also do something horrible that I'm unaware of, then they're cringe. And while as a programmer your job is literally to understand logic and think about how things work, there is a kind of a form of art in coding, you know? And like any art form, it takes a lot of time to master, but along the way you're gonna make a lot of really cool things. Like my game, Bean Game Forever. You should download it now and check out the devlog and eat juice every day. Great juice, great juice.